Is your farm ready for winter and all those winter storms? Hi, I'm Michelle from JMC Family Farms. In this video, I'm going to show you how we prepare our farm for winter to keep our animals safe and warm all winter long. If you have a problem with rats, you can get a barn cat, you can use traps, but also look into Jack Russell's. They do a really great job at controlling the rat population, plus it gives them a job to do on your farm. I'm going to break this video down into sections, so if you're not interested in certain animals, you can always just jump ahead to the next section. So first up is our chickens. From January to April each year, we really only remove the big pieces of manure from our coop, and that's as we're able to. Like sometimes it's so frozen in here that we just can't. And then what we do is we layer a fresh layer of shavings on top of that frozen manure. It's called the deep litter method, and the theory behind it is by leaving that manure in this coop, then it helps to produce additional heat, and that helps to keep the chickens warm. Something that's been so helpful in our coop is we have a heated base for our water. What I did just for safety is I put a patio stone on the floor in the coop, and then I put that red heated plate on top of it. Then for extra safety, again, we've secured all the wires to the wall and the ceiling of the coop, and we just leave it in place all year round. All that I do is once the temperatures rise in the spring, I just unplug it. People sometimes put plastic or some sort of covering around their chicken run. Underneath of ours, we could put the feed bags under there just because the area is so small, but I haven't because the girls haven't been coming outside. The one thing, if you are going to put any sort of plastic covering around here, make sure if you get a lot of snow that you don't put it up in this top section up here, because what would happen is the snow would then sit on the top of that and become too heavy, and it would make that top piece cave in. Because in our coop, you can see it's just the wire up there, so that's not going to work. The snow is much too heavy. By putting the plastic or even some sort of panels on here, it just helps to block the wind. And depending on what you're using, it still would allow the sunshine to come in just to make the temperature warmer in that area. Chickens require, just like any animal, additional energy to sustain their body temperature as the temperatures drop during the winter months. The temperatures in Canada get extremely cold, so you have to make sure you make adjustments to their diet. Chickens will require more things like protein because they're using more energy to stay warm. We do feed our girls sunflower seeds, mealworms, and even warm oatmeal along with their layer crumb and even scratch during the winter time. This winter, our girls have decided it is far too cold to be outside, and they often will do just that. They stick their head out the window and they could not be bothered to come outside. Unless it's nice and sunny, they just get a bit of fresh air and then that's it. They have no interest of being outside in the cold. If you're considering to allow your chickens to free range all winter long, make sure you check out the video on your screen right now. In that video, I share some really important tips about how to keep your chickens safe. I even talk about how natural pathways that are within your own property, like this one, become highways for predators. The weather in Ontario this winter has not been typical for us. We're getting a lot of freezing rain like today, but we haven't got a lot of snow. The problem with that is that when it's raining like it is today, the temperatures are still cool. If the horses get wet, they can get cold if they're not fed properly. During the winter, it's really important that horses have access to adequate hay. This is what helps them to stay warm. So without really getting too technical, when a horse eats hay or a high fiber type feed, it's digested in their hind gut. The digestion process is really what helps to keep the horse warm. So as their hind gut works, it increases the horse's internal body temperature, and that helps the horse stay warm when the temperatures are really cold. Horses need access to fresh water all winter long, and they sometimes need encouragement to drink. Really, ideally, they should be having some lukewarm water, but that's not always practical. We have a trough with a heating element in the bottom, and that's just two separate things that you buy. It saves a ton of work. All that happens is there's a hole in the side of the trough, and then the element just fits through there. And then what you do is you plug it in with an extension cord. It's really important that you put any sort of cords or anything like that in a place that your horses can't get, especially if you have younger horses or that you have horses that are really curious. Really big on safety, and what I've done again, as you can see, is I put a patio stone on the ground just because any sort of an electrical cord is a fire hazard. So this way it's sitting on a stone instead of the ground. We always give the trough a deep clean in the fall with a pressure washer, but during the winter months, it's too hard to clean it like that. So what I use is a toilet bowl brush as well as just a regular retractable hose. But don't worry, I don't use the toilet bowl brush for cleaning toilets or anything like that. I just use it specifically for the troughs. Why I like it is that it's very durable and it's hard, so you can clean the elements still. You can get into all those little spots because of the way that the toilet brush is built, and it works really great for cleaning your trough. Horses, like people, are unique, and that's why some have blankets and some don't. It really depends on the type of horse that it is, the age of the horse, and even the type of hair that the horse has. I used to put a blanket on Peanut in the wintertime, but he's absolutely petrified of it. He would see me coming from the house with a blanket and he would run to the end of the paddock. He has such a nice fluffy coat. He's like a polar bear and he doesn't need a blanket. If he had health conditions or he was getting to be a senior horse, it might be different, but he's perfectly fine without a blanket. Rabbits do so much better in the wintertime compared to the summertime, and the reason is that they grow this thick coat during the wintertime to keep them nice and warm. But it's so important to make sure that they have a dry place to go. They're protected from the wind and the rain and just the blowing snow. So if you do have an area where they are outdoors, ours have individual cages as well. So I mean, ours have lots of protection outside, but rabbits really do a lot better in the winter time. Something we've done with all of our rabbit cages is we've put these feed bags just on the outside. So important when we get a really bad snowstorm that gives them extra protection. We also put the bags on the front of the cages, and we've just secured them with the staples along the top. So it's really easy. You can just change them if they start to get frayed. We just put these ones on in the winter just so they have fresh ones, but they work great because they're so durable. We use these water dishes from the dollar store, and today is a really cold day, so we will have to change their water a few times, but rabbits do need access to fresh water. They won't eat unless they have access to fresh water. These dishes are great because we can just take these in the house, let them unthaw, and then we can give them fresh ones. It's really important to make sure that your rabbits have lots of fresh hay as well. That's really what their primary diet should be during the wintertime. Of course, you can give them extra things like carrots, apples, different treats, but they really do need their hay and water. That's the most important thing. Kibble, of course, is something else with the vitamins and nutrients and different things depending on what sort of feed that you're feeding your rabbit, but hay and water are the primary things that are the most important. If you've recently bought horses or you're even considering building stalls, make sure you check out the video on your screen right now. In that video, I will share with you some things I like about the stalls that we built and some things that I would change the next time. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.